Hey everybody, this is Deanna Baker at dbaker Designs, and I am here at our dining room table where most of the chaos and projects happen. But I just wanted to share something really cool with you. I just inherited my grandfather's leather tools. Now, this is from my mom's side. He had died when she was 13, so obviously I never met him. But she has always told me stories about him and how he would sit at the dining room table after dinner and bring out all his tools and do his leather work. Now these have been in the care of my uncle, because my uncle, who is 14 years older than my mother, took on leather work, and so he started doing it as a hobby as well. So he called right after Christmas a couple weeks ago and asked if we would like all the tools and things because he's downsizing and getting older, and I was so excited. So we went over there with my mom and Darren and I and to look through all the stuff, and there was tons of stuff and it's so exciting. I'm still going through it, but I just wanted to share with you because I'm just so excited. So we've got things from tools to dyes to paints, and this is the kind of work that my grandfather used to do. His name was Irvin Pope, and he used to do lots of deer. From growing up, I remember on our coffee table was a photo album, and I loved to look through it because it was pictures of my mom's parents as young, probably teenagers, late, early 20s. I always loved to look at that photo album because it was so cool to see my grandma like let loose and have fun and be silly. I wish I had met my grandfather. I never did. But my mom always told me stories about what a strict man he was. He came over from Romania when he was a teenage boy, and his parents, basically his mother, was a very strict Romanian woman. And a little family gossip was he was supposed to marry a Romanian girl that his mother picked out for him, but he fell in love with my grandmother, who was not Romanian. She was Dutch. So I always loved that album and seeing them just in fun, happy times. My grandfather even made the photo album, and it was just really cool to see that he made that with his own hands. Never really thought much about it and just loved the pictures. It's cool hearing stories of that. But this here is one of his toolboxes with all his tools in it. What he did was he took an old record player box, took all that out and put in his tools and made it as drilled holes and made this whole area to hold all his tools for carving leather. And here's like a rawhide hammer that you use, and just all the, they're just so cool. And look, it even says EP on it. That says it's for Irvin Pope. And then like this is so cool, a bone folder, which is probably real bone, which nowadays, they don't use real bone. And this is for edging. So I started leather work about 6, 7, maybe 8 years now. We were going to the lake house, Darren's aunt's lake house, and of course I'm addicted to stones, as you probably know. And we were in the craft store, and we always like to do crafts while we're there. And Bella picked up a bag of scrap leather and wanted to do it and play with it. So we did. So we got it, and I ended up just taking over the bag and loved it. I'd line the rocks with it, make bracelets with it. I love making cuffs, and it's funny because when I showed my uncle last week, the first thing he noticed was the edges, and he said that you got to finish your edges. And I always thought like the modern look, no, you don't have to do that. So I started finishing my edges, and they do look a lot better. And I recommend, if you have any questions with leather, Tandy Leather is a great place. Full of knowledge, very welcoming to help. They're great. I have to drive like an hour to Livonia, Michigan for a Tandy Leather, but it's definitely worth it. So I thought this was cool. And then here, I believe these are my uncle's more modern tools. Same kind of things. There's like roses and flowers and a couple acorns, and Thought that was pretty cool. And then, like these were my grandfather's, and he made this little holder, and it's what it is. It's a knife in there. Isn't that cool for cutting leather? So, and some of these tools were very dull. So, when I was at Tandy Leather, I asked them, "Can I sharpen them? How to sharpen them?" And they gave me some pointers. So I'm excited to try that because a lot of these edging tools are very dull. So I'm going to try to put some jeweler's rouge or a light sandpaper to bring those edges back up. Another cool thing is, I thought this was so cool. It's full of patterns. Full of how to make the, like here's a bicycle, you know, this here is a Christmas, if you wanted to carve, and who knew that people did this in leather, like, it's just amazing. But the cool thing that I found, that I haven't shown my mom yet, and I want to show her, is this package that came from Craft Tool Company out of California, Los Angeles, California, and it's to Irvin Pope at their Detroit address. And you know what's hilarious is it looks like the zip code is 21. So this was dated back February 21st, 1957. Isn't that cool? It's just awesome. And what's inside, he had ordered some templates. So I don't know if you can see this, maybe I can zoom in on it. But they're bears and moose, an eagle, more bear and moose, and then a horse head, which is crazy. Horse head with some floral designs. So he would order these from California, and they'd come here. And there's a ton of them. And you know what? When I was in Tandy Leather, I tell you, the packaging has not changed. A lot of the stuff there looks just like this, which is crazy. Because this was $1. This is right there, price $1. So those are all patterns that you can make on the leather. I've got tons of them. Here's this is just some of them. Tons more. I got books, how to braid leather. And a lot of this you can look up online, which is really cool, and that's how I've always done it. But to have these books, like this is a newer book, that was probably my uncle's. But some of these, I love this. Cowboy horse gear. So if you want to make cowboy horse gear in Square Deal Leathercraft and Hobby, Hamtramck, Michigan. I should look these up to see if they're still around. But how to braid leather, which I love making braided bracelets, which my son even loves to do. So that's like 4 generations now who love to do leather work. And here's more leather braiding. Let's see, where's this from? This has some handmade stencils in it. Horses, and lots of horses. Horse stamps, and tons of, wallets. This was pretty cool, making leather animals. Can you imagine? Look at all the little designs you can do. Crazy. Hey, if you wanted the Lord's Supper made out of leather, here you go. Here's a pattern for it. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. But I tell you, the stuff is hard to do and takes talent. Here is a belt. I'm thinking this is from my grandfather, because my mom was telling me a cool story about when she was a kid. He would make her a belt with all her friends' names on it. He would hand carve each and every one. Isn't that cool? So these are all individual pieces here that he put on a piece of suede to make a belt. I love that. And here's a purse he made. And what's this cool is that is my grandma's initials. Her name was Evelyn. Isn't that cool? So it's just amazing, the detail in this, and I'll zoom in on this for you too. It's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Look at those letters. It's just amazing. I love it. So, and then all these rivets, like a projector to make things big, all these rivets and belt buckles and things in here, dies, finishers, which I just went and bought some of this stuff for the edging. This is a newer EcoFlow, but some of these old bottles, sounds like they're even dried, but look at how cool that bottle is. Love it. It's like Christmas. It was like Christmas when he gave this to me. It was just so exciting. And you know what's funny is I remember this tin. My grandma would always have cookies in a tin that looked just like this. And inside is sewing stuff, and this is pretty cool. It's for stitching. It's got like a sharp, you know, like an awl with, and then a needle goes through it. This is cool. This is my grandfather's. It says Irvin Pope, Detroit Leather Crafters. So he must have been part of a group or association, or, you know, I would love to look that up. The history of some of this stuff, it's just amazing. And then this is my favorite. I should say one of my favorites, because all of this is my favorite. Are these alphabet set. And they're all circusy, the old school leather letters. I love it. So I'm going to get started on making collars and cuffs. I'm so excited. We made our new puppy a collar, and I